we go, here we go, here we go. All right, what is up, everyone? We are live. And this is Carlos Sanchez, aka Sneak Geeks, SNEAKG coming at you with another cryptocurrency news recap. And in this recap, we're going to be going over the coin market capitalization. We're going to be discussing Ethereum initial coin offering. Is going to go into detail on tools that I've found around the web that help you do your research when deciding whether to get involved in an ICO. In addition, how to do it, right? A lot of people have been asking questions. How do you actually go about it? We're going to cover the Bancor ICO, which is the biggest in history at 153 million, topping the Dow at 152 million dollars raised. And we'll also get into why is Ethereum skyrocketing the way it is, and what some of the considerations behind that, and what people are saying all around why that might be happening. So let's get into the first piece of news, which is the CoinMarketCap. And here we go. We are on CoinMarketCap.com. Let me do a refresh to get the most up-to-date information. And okay, so what we can see here is that the coin market cap is $113 billion, quite astronomical that is. And Bitcoin dominance is 39.4, so it has steadily been going down. Bitcoin dominance has. If we look at the Bitcoin price, it's up a little bit at 27.44. It was as low as 2,600, maybe a little bit lower. Ethereum is at 389. It was as high as 400, went a little bit over 400, but didn't maintain that. Let's see, Ripple is at 25 cents, not really interested. NEM, 20 cents. Ethereum Classic is at $20.14. I got a little bit of Ethereum Classic. I don't have any Ethereum, don't have any Ripple, sold on my Ripple. IOTA, oh, this is an interesting entry into the top 10. We have IOTA at the number 6 spot at 1.7 billion at 63 cents. Very interesting indeed. I don't even know what's going on there, but I have to do some research. There, Litecoin's at 29.94, Dash at 179, BitShares at 36 cents. And we scroll down, Waves at 578, Monero had lost some ground, if you can see from the chart here, and then went up. Let's see, Zcash on a rip, 342. And Steam is at 241. It's up 10%. It was down as low as $2, 203. I didn't get to buy that dip. I regret it, but I'm trying to hold on to some coins, trying to stack my coins and build up, replenish my supply, which has been diluted somewhat by some of these ICOs and some mining that I've been doing. All right, so getting into, I guess before we can talk about ICOs, we have to talk about Ethereum, because the majority of ICOs are happening on the Ethereum network. So let's see, let's look at this article here on CryptoCoinNews.com. Boom time, Ethereum price surpasses $400, all-time high. So it looks like it went up to 407, a record high. And so 5,000% increase, when in January it was trading at under $8. That's really incredible. So Ethereum's unique qualities, it goes into the article. While Bitcoin's rise boosts altcoins, there's also fundamental demand for Ethereum, adding that Bitcoin and Ethereum serve different needs. Ethereum supports smart contracts, which has attracted significant interest among financial institutions and other companies. We know about the Ethereum Alliance, which has over 80 companies involved. the likes of Intel, JP Morgan, Microsoft, Toyota, Samsung, and some others. Also has attracted significant investor interest, and and national governments also embracing Ethereum. And for example, let's see, Switzerland, where Ethereum's foundation is based, has showed the strongest interest, followed by Venezuela. Triple-digit inflation. South Korea seems to have fallen in love with the currency, with its three largest exchanges handle twice the ETH fiat volume of Coinbase, GDAX, and Kraken combined. And so South Korea is also big into fantasy sports, an area where ETH smart contracts can be used to make the game more transparent and reduce cheating. And the government of Singapore, these are all recent headlines that came in the news the past couple of weeks, recently conducted a test to digitize a national digital currency using Ethereum blockchain. And then also Ethereum founder Vitalik met with Russian President Vladimir Putin, a high-profile development that lends more credibility to Ethereum. This is an interesting point here, interesting aspect, because when I saw Vitalik meeting with Vladimir Putin, president of Russia, I couldn't help but think about Snowden. And, you know, one of the risks, and we'll get into that momentarily, of getting involved, whether you're investing in an ICO or you are offering up an ICO, is the unregulatory environment that it has not been defined. There are no quote unquote requirements, or that it isn't regulated, some say. So anyway, with that, if some really hard-handed regulation comes down, and that Ethereum is responsible for all of these ICOs that have been launched, and that all these ICOs are securities, and they were offered without following the letter of the law, quite possibly, this is a bit of a stretch, but Vitalik could be found liable for that. And I couldn't help but wonder, is this a Snowden move by Russia, that in case something like this happens, letting him know that, hey, Russia and Moscow is open, will welcome you with open hands, and you can come and live here in case they try to arrest you and lock you up for 1,000,000 years. So anyway, so that was just an interesting thought that I was thinking about when I saw that meeting and those pictures of Vitalik with Putin. So yes, and another point to look at when it comes to, let's see if I can find the article that I've seen posted on some of these websites, is another number to be looking at when you're watching Ethereum is the $467 resistance. If that's an interesting number to look at. If Ethereum can break that, it'll just continue to drive upward. 367 was the one to watch more recently, and now 467 is the number that a lot of traders is watching. Another interesting aspect as to why Ethereum is booming the way it is, we kind of, four main factors that explain the 3,000% rally of Ethereum is on Cointelegraph. I love Cointelegraph. I love their images, right? Look at this. It's all original artwork that they do. It's pretty sick. So let's just look at it. Look at the value. Look at this chart. It is going parabolic. And they're saying these four aspects that are driving the price: ICOs, Ethereum Enterprise Alliance, South Korean demand, and Vitalik meeting Vladimir Putin. So all of these factors combined have really increased the price of Ethereum. because the majority of ICOs that are being launched are ERC20 tokens that are Ethereum platform tokens, and if for you to get those and to get into those ICOs, you need to buy Ethereum. So there's a lot of people buying Ethereum to purchase these tokens, and typically, unless you're using something like Genesis Mining or Genesis trading platform or Coinbase, where you can directly trade in the U.S. anyway, fiat for crypto, then you would need to get fiat into Bitcoin and then trade Bitcoin into Ethereum, and that could be causing the drop in the Bitcoin price. A lot of people buying Bitcoin and then trading it out for Ethereum and just getting out of their Bitcoin so they could get involved, whether they're speculating on the price of Bitcoin or they're looking to get involved in the ICO. Okay, so those are some of the points of why the Ethereum price is going up. Let's see what else we got going on here. All right, so we're going to get into ICOs. And ICOs, whether they're... this is one other point I got to make on Ethereum, that Ethereum is now the most secure public blockchain, overtaking Bitcoin. And so this article on trustnodes.com has some details of how they came about this, because it's totally, completely different algorithms, a different type of hardware that's being used. But the founder, Martin Koppelman, founder of the Gnosis project, who has came up with this formula for why the Ethereum network is now bigger than the Bitcoin network. And that's pretty huge. That's pretty huge indeed, everybody. So, getting into ICOs, Bancor raises 153 million. It does it in about 3 hours. There was an issue with the Ethereum blockchain where it got clogged up with transactions, and they had to extend the. They didn't have to, but they extended the ICO to allow more people to get involved. So there's been a lot of criticism about that and how they extended the ICO. So they had to extend the cap of coins. So they had to create more coins so more people could get involved in the ICO. So that's very interesting, and a lot of criticism about that. But let's look at the chart, and yeah, so it's gone, you know, it's bananas. It's Bancor. If you don't know, Tim Draper, well-known VC, is personally invested in a bunch of blockchain-focused companies. I don't know if it's over 10 of them, 20 of them, I don't know. But he was one of the founding investors in Bancor. And so a huge investor in this, and that's one of the reasons it got a lot of attention. So, okay, so ICOs. Should you or should you not get involved in an ICO? How do you determine whether an ICO is a good investment or not? Personally, ICOs, people should only be getting involved in ICOs if they have money to lose. Like any crypto investment, if you have money to lose, then you should, you know, go ahead and put that into cryptocurrency. Now, when it comes to ICOs, that goes even a step further. If you have money that you no longer want to invest in crypto, and it's even more money that you have, I don't know how to explain that correctly, that you're willing to lose, then then maybe you should consider an ICO. It is not the only way. A lot of people, there's these mad rushes to get involved, engage in these ICOs. People racing against the clock, getting involved in these ICOs, and and these ICOs sell out quickly, and then these coins, if they were successful, if it was a successful ICO, then these coins will be going on in exchange, right? They will be going on an exchange, and then people will have another opportunity to get involved in these ICOs. And it's not unusual that initially, when they go on an exchange, they'll be a little bit higher in price than the going rate of the ICO during the ICO launch, and it'll go up a little bit higher, and then it'll taper down. The price will drop a bit, and that's not unusual that happens. So I would say, don't make a mad rush to get in on the ICO on its initial launch. Yes, what the benefit is that definitely you can make an immediate profit getting it at the ICO price and then selling as soon as they go on an exchange. You can make an immediate profit of sometimes 50% or 100%. on that investment. But once again, ICOs are for the most part, a long-term investment. It's really something that if you really want to make, if you only want to make 100% increase profit on that, or 50% increase, then sell immediately as soon as they go on the exchange. So you have that. That's a good option. But if you want to make 1,000x, 2,000x, 500x on that ICO, then you got to hold on to it sometimes a year, 6 months, but you got to hold on to it for long term. And if you're not willing to do that, then may not be a good idea to get involved in the ICO. So you might want to consider that when following the crowd when trying to get in on these ICOs. So let's look at some of the tools that I've used for evaluating ICOs. So here's a tool, ICORating.com. ICORating.com is a website that creates ratings on ICOs. Not all ICOs are covered, but they do try to cover, I guess, the most popular ones. And what they do is they give you a rating. So we hear the name of the startup, the category, is it investment, is it a crowdfunding platform, is it a service, is it a cryptocurrency? Rating score, here Main Street Investment is rated as risky, then these others are to be determined. They give you a little bit of a description, the date of the ICO, and links to either Bitcoin Talk, Twitter, Facebook, Slack, their website, LinkedIn, and other potential links. And then they have a full report that you could click. So on this Main Street Investment here, if we click on this full report, we can see what they're giving us here. And as far as I know, these are free. So let's scroll down on this one. And so it gives you Main Street Investment, Charlie Shrem and Jason Granger. Oh, I didn't know Charlie Shrem was involved in this project. So ICO Ratings Report, Company Overview. So that's 35 pages. Strengths, weaknesses, competitions in the space, technical aspects of the platform, team behind it, social media, summary, company overview. So these are interesting things that they go over. And with that said, what I didn't mention in the beginning when evaluating ICO, these are some of the 4, 5, 6 things that you should look at. And let me get out of this screen for a second. So things that you should be looking at when evaluating an ICO. One of the first things, and this is not in any particular order, is this an original idea? Is this an idea that's actually solving a problem? Or is this something that's already being copycatted and there's 10 iterations of it out there and 10 more coming? So that is a very, very important aspect to when rating an ICO. The second thing is the team. What kind of team is there behind the coin? Is it a team that has experience in the subject matter? Because at the end of the day, when you listen to some of the top investors, they don't care about the technology. They're not investing in tech. They're investing in people, and the team is the primary focus, right? If the idea is an original idea, then the second thing you're looking at is the team. And does the team have a strong leader? Very important. Like Ethereum, they have Vitalik. Like Litecoin, they have Charlie Lee. Waves has their leader, and there are many others right out there. They have a strong leader, they have a great team, and then they have a strong leader, and that's really important. Do they have escrow accounts, right? So when they decide on the distribution of these coins and how many coins they're creating and they're selling on this ICO, how are they distributing these coins? How many are available? First off, how many total coins are there, right? Is one of the top concerns when looking at the coin issue and issuance. How many coins are going to be available for sale? How many coins are going to be locked up? How many coins are locked up, i.e. for what purposes? How many coins are the founders getting? How many coins are they using for the different budgets, for marketing, for project development, and for bounty, bug bounties, and other things. So you got to look at that and how these coins are going to be distributed to the project. Are they going to be held in escrow? Are these projects going to get all the coins at one time? Or are they, as far as the coins that are being sold, or are they going to be released depending on milestones being reached? Right? So these are some of the things that need to be looked at. Another thing very important is, and I would say this would be actually number 3, is the history of the team. Have they created something in the past? What have they done in the past? What kind of projects have they done? What have they, do they have a prototype right now? What do they have right now? What kind of code have they developed right now? So if this is a team and all they have is a white paper, you got to be very careful at that. And is this something that you're willing to invest in? If it's all based on a white paper, they don't have a demo, they've only been around for 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year, but still don't have a demo. Those are things to be leery of. Another thing, this is more on the fringes, is timing. You can have a great idea, a great team, great escrow model for the distribution of the coins, history of doing things, but is this new idea, is this the correct time for it? Because there's been many, many ideas, and we could look at the bust of the internet bust that happened early in the 2000s, and there was a lot of great projects and they failed, right? Because the timing wasn't right. And then those types of projects were then picked up more recently, and now they're a huge success. But back then, they couldn't scale those projects because we were still trying to develop and scale email at that point. And people were trying to develop and sell all these products online where people didn't even have email. Email wasn't fully out there. So these are some of the things to look at. Let's go back to my desktop. Again, with ICOs, we're reaching the 22-minute mark. So this is one tool that I mentioned, ICORating.com. It's great. They have these reports. If nothing else, they don't have a report for the ICO you're looking at. It's good to look at these chapters that they discuss to do a comparison, which is market industry overview, project strengths, weaknesses, and so forth. All right, so let's look at another tool. Another tool that I look at is ICO Alert Report, and this is similar to ICO Rating, and they have reports that they create for the different ICOs. These reports are not free. These are approximately $20, and here is an example of a free report that I downloaded. And again, if nothing else, these are good for educational purposes, so you can get an idea of what are the things that you should be looking at when considering investing in ICO, and the sale period, the token distribution, allocation time, was there a pre-mine? So here, this was the Aragon ICO, 15% of tokens to founders and early contributors, 15% of tokens to foundation for long-term reserves, and then they would do, so they probably sold 70% of their tokens. Right, so, and then it goes into more details here, and this report, it has a lot more details, very interesting. I'm trying to see how many pages this is. I'm not sure, but this is a very short report, and it is $20. Another website that I use is TokenMarket.net. I really like this website because they offer, it's a calendar, and they have all these great alerts. I've mentioned this website before. They have these alerts that they will alert you when a new ICO is coming onto the calendar, and if an ICO is about to launch, they send you an email if you create an account. So that's pretty cool. And if you look at their, let's see what they say about Bancor. Let's just look at that. And so it's got a little video. It's got a bunch of links. Their Slack, Twitter, Facebook, podcasts, right? Their Telegram, bunch of links and things on describing the project. And depending on the project, that some of them have more news than others. So let's look at this link here. So, and then again, more details there. So let's look at another tool. So there was some other ones. So these are the 3 most popular ones. Another good website to look at is, okay, we see the Merkle.com posted an article where, okay, everybody's talking about, and then be careful with the Bancor project because there is a copycat ICO that's looking to scam investors. And TV production company, the 21 million project, announces token sale of the 21 million coin. They are doing an ICO to help fund their TV production. Also, we are here again on the Merkle talking about ICOs. Rule of thumb for ICO investors. This one is on Cointelegraph. They go over some points, that things you should consider. A lot of them I already covered. And then there's their issue here they highlight with trouble with regulations, which I mentioned early on. It is still an unregulated space, quote unquote. Some people are saying there are regulations in place. And when you're selling an ICO, you're selling a security. And so all the laws pertaining to security apply to ICOs. The jury's still out on that. People are debating that issue. Let's see. So when you go into the Merkle.com, going switching to another website, and you put an ICO on the site, you can see they have a pretty good educational series about ICOs, and you see the tag here, education. But you got to be careful because also there are press releases that come up, and sometimes they come up on the front page of the website. So when I was researching ICOs, these press releases came up and I didn't notice the tag for press release. And I'm going through it, I'm reading it, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then realized that it was just an advertisement, a press release. So you got to be really careful. Another example is, is Cointelegraph. Let's go to Cointelegraph's homepage. And even though I love this website, you got to be looking here, right underneath here, press releases. These are all press releases. And you would think, oh, this is an interesting article. Let me read it. And you might click on it, and it's a press release. In addition, you see these here that says sponsored, right? This is a press release, sponsored. So you would think this is an article that I should be reading. Like, this caught my attention. Minerium brings first ever self-mining smart contract, but it is a press release. So it's not an editorial piece. Another sponsor, there's a lot of them there. So you got to be careful. These are just the project itself promoting itself. So one of the first places that you can go when an ICO sells out and that you can buy, one of the first exchanges that offers ICOs is EtherDelta. EtherDelta.github.io is one of the first places where you can find an ICO. Let me get rid of this Pluto and hit here and see what comes up. And the first thing that come up, you are connected to the Ethereum test network. Please connect to the Ethereum mainnet. So EtherDelta is a distributed exchange. And to interact with the EtherDelta, you need to have a MetaMask wallet. MetaMask, as you see here, I just clicked, is a plugin that you could put into your Chrome. And when you create a MetaMask, initially it has you on the testnet. And that's why that pop-up came up saying that I was in the testnet. You create an account, and then you fund it, and then you make sure that you're not, well, let me go backtrack. You create an account, you make sure you're not on the testnet, then you fund it, and then you can interact with the EtherDelta exchange, distributed exchange. Let me see if Bancor is on here. Bancor, I'm not sure. It's not BNT. Is it BNT? No, I don't think it's BNT. Let me just go to CoinMarketCap. Let's look for Bancor. It's not coming up. I'm not sure what their ticker is, but it's not here yet. So anyway, EtherDelta is one of the first places that you will see a Ethereum-based, so this is an Ethereum-based distributed exchange. You can get in here and you can start purchasing tokens. Usually they're a little bit higher here on price because it's usually immediately after the ICO. People are trying to get in there and they'll pay more. for it. And then when it goes over out to the bigger exchanges, the price starts dropping a little bit. So that's the story with that. Let's see. So is it worth it to invest in so just looking at the Ethereum network here, Ethereum network hash rate, talked about how high it's been going and how high it is, and how according to one formula it is bigger than the Bitcoin network there. And just to look at Steemit. So so should you invest or should you not invest? You know, that's a decision that you have to make ultimately. But if you miss out on the ICO, you can still get in later. And sometimes you won't necessarily make a better, it won't be a better price than the ICO for the most part. It'll be a little bit higher, but you could still get in. And you could just not get sucked into all the hype, and you could take a breather, sit back for a moment, and then decide whether this is a good opportunity to get into that ICO. So I have not been getting into a lot of ICOs. I did get in some before, but you know what? I haven't been really anxious to get rid of my Ethereum. Ethereum has been going up quite nicely, so I'm not, you know, really. I don't see much incentive to get rid of my Ethereum, because I have gotten in ICOs, traded out my Ethereum, and then the ICO, you know, I made a little profit, but if I would have held on to my Ethereum, I would have made a lot more profit. So those are my opinions on ICOs, whether you should invest or not. I hope this video has given you some valuable information. If you like the video and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing, consider giving the video a thumbs up, and consider following me on Steemit. I was doing a giveaway when I reached my 100 followers on Steemit. Now I am approaching 200. I am at 185 followers on Steemit. And so when I get to 200, I'm going to be doing another Steemit giveaway. So thank you, everybody, for watching. I will see you in the next video. Peace out. And remember, don't be too anxious to get rid of those coins and those ICOs. Ethereum is going up like a rocket ship. Thank you. Peace.